Uncharted 3 gets free-to-play multiplayer, Blacklight Retribution is invaded by zombies, Heroes and Generals open beta begins, tactical intervention plans, strategic release schedules, and more on this week's episode. My name is Hannah, your new host of Free-to-Play Weekly. Call it an experiment. Uncharted 3 is by all means a title purchased primarily for its single-player campaign, but Naughty Dog wants to expand the game's multiplayer horizons to include those who don't own the game. To do this, they have created a standalone, free-to-play multiplayer client which players can download from the PlayStation 3 store. Unfortunately, unlike CCP's recent console-exclusive free-to-play FPS Dust 514, this standalone is what you would call a freemium title. The free-to-play multiplayer comes with a severe level cap restriction, which only allows players to level up to 15 without paying. However, players will continue to have access to all of the competitive multiplayer options without having to remove that level cap. According to Joystick, when asked why Naughty Dog was pursuing this type of business model, the response was that they were just trying to see what people might gravitate to, and that the studio's plan to go free-to-play is an attempt to accomplish two goals: reinvigorate the pool of Uncharted 3 players and test the freemium waters. If 2012 free-to-play titles are any indication, the freemium model is going the way of the dodo, replaced by developers like Path of Exile's Grinding Gear, who released an entire game without restrictions for free. With the free-to-play console market still being in its infancy, it will be interesting to see what path most console developers take when pursuing free-to-play options. Beta details have emerged unexpectedly for the objective-based FPS Tactical Intervention, which is being developed by Min Lee, one of the original co-creators of the extremely popular Half-Life mod, maybe you've heard of it, Counter-Strike. Tactical Intervention focuses on giving players options and opportunities to take advantage of in order to complete objectives. Players can call in attack dogs to aid them, and even make use of tactical rappel ropes to drop in on enemies unexpectedly. Even the terrorist forces can use cowering civilians as human shields, making team play and coordination a key component of tactical intervention. After initial closed beta testing over a year ago, OG Planet has revealed that the open beta will kick off on March 14th after a small closed beta event this week. Unfortunately, EU players are out of luck as there are no current plans to publish Tactical Intervention in European regions. There seems to be some sort of unspoken code about free-to-play shooters and zombie modes. 9 times out of 10, a free-to-play shooter offers some sort of cooperative or versus zombie mode. Until recently, Blacklight Retribution had sidestepped the zombie scourge, perhaps due to their impressive hygiene and futuristic medicine, but with the announcement of Retribution's latest expansion, Onslaught, it seems as even the future isn't safe from the zombie epidemic. The latest expansion adds a new mode by the same name which has a very Call of Duty Zombies vibe to it, with 4 players joining forces to battle ever-increasing waves of sprinting undead. The update also adds 3 other new game modes, including Search and Destroy, Last Man Standing, and Last Team Standing. The new modes aren't so much new as they are new additions to Blacklight. New guns and 3 new maps are also on the table, including Safehold, Metro, and Center, which is exclusive to the new Onslaught mode. The new content is available to download now, and all combined, it is the largest yet for Blacklight. Any fans of Blacklight know what that means. Be prepared for an extra lengthy download. Blacklight loves to take its time with patches. With War Thunder's controllable Navy feature still a ways off and Wargaming.net's World of Warships release nowhere near the horizon, a niche in need of filling has emerged for those who desire a free-to-play naval warfare MMO. Cue Navy Field 2 from Nexon, an MMORTS which focuses exclusively on naval engagements. Details are sparse at the moment, but we do know that players will have access to over 500 ships from World War I and II, spread across 7 nations. The ships themselves can be customized with a variety of weapons and armor enhancements. As an RTS, Navy Field 2 is focused on large-scale battles with players clashing up to 64 participants. That's quite the confrontation. You can sign up now for the closed beta, which is set to go live on March 27th and run through till April 10th. Salem, the sandbox MMORPG that puts players in charge of blazing their own path in the wilderness of a colonial America, went into open beta last week. For those unfamiliar with the game, the goal in Salem is straightforward: survive. To do this, you'll need to learn the vital skills necessary to scavenge for food, harvest natural resources, craft tools and a home, and eventually establish your own in-game settlement. Death lurks around every corner though, with wild animals and bandit players capable of cutting your time in the Newland short. Yes, death in Salem is permanent, although you can always find your way back to your home once you've made a new character. That is, if no one has already claimed it for themselves in your absence. Do you enjoy sandbox MMOs? Our free-to-play coverage wraps up this week with the news that Heroes and Generals has entered into open beta. The historical FPS marks the return of interest towards venturing back into the war-torn fields of Europe. Raiderz, the team behind Heroes and Generals, have stressed how the game is much more than just a simple lobby-based shooter with the ability to engage in a dynamic strategic multiplayer campaign in which players fight in battles across Europe. Other players, known as generals, strategically reinforce ongoing battles from an overview perspective, granting the ground troop players additional lives, vehicles, and other vital supplies necessary in order to turn the tide of battle. The general's role is so important that Raiderz even developed an iOS and Android app called Heroes and Generals Mobile Command, which allows the player to stay up to date on important developments and move reinforcements on the go. If you're interested in trying the game out for yourself, you can do so by heading over to the official site now. And the game of the week is RF Online. RF Online is a 3D sci-fi MMORPG which blends magic and technology to create a diverse world where 3 factions are pitted against each other in a battle over precious resources. Players can choose from 4 classes each, of which can be further specialized at several higher level intervals, allowing for an impressive range of customization. Each of the game's 3 factions also possess their own distinct characteristics. Players are not bound to one class, but instead can specialize in 2 classes at once, allowing for a player to combine a wide range of abilities and actions in order to create a unique playstyle. While there are quests, dungeons, and a variety of monsters to slay, RF Online is primarily focused on open-world PvP. In order to craft the game's weapons and armors, players must mine a rare resource which only one faction can control at a time. In order to do so, each faction must participate in the Chip Wars, which has each faction attempting to secure the rights to the mines and the protection of the dreaded Holy Stone Keeper. If you're looking for a sci-fi MMO that has a heavy focus on large-scale PvP, a player-controlled political system, and attempts to innovate how you customize your characters, then be sure to check out RF Online. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Free to Play Weekly. As always, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And while you're at it, be sure and check out our website, MMOBomb.com, where you can see everything featured in this week's episode and more. Thanks again, you guys, and I'll see you next week.